arranged for today. Like many of the ones that we've been doing all of 2020 as well, ever since we went into lockdown and have been fighting the coronavirus. Today, we are talking about an issue that may have slid off our newspapers and our television channels, but something that is very much uppermost in our minds. For over 125 days, farmers from North India are protesting on the borders of Delhi. The biting cold, the unseasonal rain, and now the scorching heat has claimed more than 350 lives. This is something that we do not read about, we do not hear about. In this talk today, we'll meet the chronicler of all these deaths, and we'll discuss the mental health issues that are arising out of this long drawn out struggle. Amandeep Sandhu, who suggested and made this possible, this conversation possible, and brought both Simi and Anurup here to us today, is a Bangalore-based writer and journalist whose last book, Punjab Journeys Through Fault Lines, has been pathbreaking in many ways. And it's been very valuable in sort of laying out the many stories, big and small, that populate this state. He's been viscerally involved with the farmers' protest, spending weeks there, reporting, writing, making us aware, and I'm grateful to him for his insightful reportage. Anurup Kaur Sandhu is an assistant professor of English at University of Delhi, and she's pursuing her MPhil in comparative Indian literature from the Faculty of Arts in the University of Delhi. And Dr. Simi Varaich, who's joining us from Chandigarh, is a well-known psychiatrist. Welcome all of you. I'm going to hand over to Professor Sarbjot Bahel now to give us a short context and backdrop to the talk that we are going to then get into. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. We have been following the farmers' protest from the day one on social media. We all supporters of the farmer protest have been doing it so from the comforts of our home, while all the people, all these protesters, farmers on the Delhi borders were exposed to all kinds of harshness of climate, of hopelessness, of so many other calamities which took its toll. And the most heartbreaking part of the day would be to read the death toll on the wall of Amandeep Sandhu's Facebook page every day. The last figure that I saw 2 days ago was 361 on the day 135. The farmers who left their homes to protest against all these draconian laws, some of them and their families never thought that they wouldn't return home. Now the maximum number of deaths have been reported from Punjab, but so many farmers from other states like Haryana, MP, UP, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra have also lost their lives and met this cruel fate. And the death struck in different forms, because as just Preeti mentioned, there was chilling cold there, rains were there, and now we are going to face the scorching heat in the coming days. And there have been heart attacks, there have been cold strokes, accidents, suicides. And in this whole game, in the whole dance of death around the borders in Delhi, the children, so many children lost their fathers, wives lost their husbands, the fathers, mothers lost their sons. And most of these farmers who were at the borders were the sole providers and breadwinners for their families. And the most inhuman part of this is that this colossal tragedy is met with such callousness and apathy from the government, who is busy going about their day-to-day business of electioneering, sloganeering, and without paying any heed to these unheeded deaths, these sacrifices, these loss of precious lives. So today we shall listen to Anurup Kaur Sandhu, Simi Varaich, and Aman Sandhu about the dimensions and documentation of this tragedy, because it is very important. History is written every day and we would remember it, because forgetting past, forgiving is definitely a virtue, but forgetting is not. So over to Amandeep.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the brief introduction. Thank you, Preeti. Thank you, Maja House, for calling us. Uh, Thank you, Anurup and Simi, Dr. Simi Viraj. I want to start with making one or two points which I think are important. Um, if I have to go back to, again, my book, there was something that I tried to be careful in it because it matters so much to me, is that I didn't want to describe the deaths through either militancy years or the farmer suicides and labor suicides that happen in Punjab, because I think there is a certain dignity to death and we all should try to maintain it. And that's my hope for even this evening. Uh, I am hoping that we are all in agreement that we should focus on the farmers' protest, but from the perspective of deaths and mental health. Today is day 136 of the protests. I counted from November 26th. Sanyukt Kisan Morcha counts it from 27th. I think Constitution Day is when Punjab started out for Delhi, and that is when. And we have had 363 deaths until now, including 26 suicides. And because there is suicide element to it, and because mental health is my concern, and I deeply respect Dr. Viraj, I wanted her to come join us. This number of deaths would just not have been possible without Anurup Kaur Sandhu. And I think Dr. Behel mentioned that he looks at my post to see how many died. I look at Anu's blog, and over the weeks, it started becoming difficult for me to keep looking at her blog. And I realized what pressure this must be on Anu. And when I spoke to her, I remember first time she said, my mobile phone is full of photographs of those dead. I have no words to say to that, because to be able to do this day in and day out, to keep scanning, to keep noting, to make details available to everybody, I think is immense work. And I'm very thankful to her. Most social movements, most other kinds of protests, most upheavals in societies never ever have an exact figure. We are not saying this is an exact figure. There could be some misses from us also. But still to have done this every day, and she starts not from November 26th, but from even before that, when the protest started in Punjab. And I think that was very right to do, because this all is part of the farmers' protest. And I'm hoping that we focus on the deaths, the suicides, the mental health aspect of the protests, because somehow we come from the land of Chardi Kala. We believe in positivity, and but I feel this is a miss we have had in trying to understand the protests. Is that what happens? And these are consequences in front of us. We can't brush over them. There are real families who have suffered it. So I thought we'll talk about it. So to me, this talk is, if possible, if you can consider a sort of ardas, what we do in our tradition, a mourning of the people who we have lost. They are um, they are our cost, but they are also, we like to mention them as martyrs, which is fine. They have given their life for a cause. I also noticed that there are doctors and psychiatrists and mental health workers who have joined in the talk. So I think instead of normally 10, 12 minutes, we'll try to make 15, 20 minutes available so that they can also comment in. The talk might go on for an hour, 15 minutes. But let me come back to Anu. And Anu, I want to know from you your own journey, because, when I noticed you, we became friends on Facebook. At some point, around June, I don't think last year, but the year before that, you put up some pictures of newspapers which your family had saved from 84, and you said, I've started looking at them. And I was, okay, how a next generation starts looking at its own history, at its community's history. And the next I saw you are in these protests, and very silent work. Uh, Tell us about yourself. Tell us how you got into this work.
So I thought of starting with talking about what led me into this process, but then I thought that maybe I should just introduce the blog first and make people see what all does it include. So I'm going to share the blog on the screen at the moment. So one part of creating this blog was also so that everybody could see it. I didn't want people to not see it, close their eyes. I don't want people to close their eyes. I want them to see the reality squarely, and that is the reason why this blog was created. So this is the blog. It's called Deaths in Farmers Protest 2020. Let me also put out clearly here that this death toll is from 24th of November. A lot of deaths have occurred before that as well, which were covered by Wire, but this is not an exhaustive list. There will be more deaths, and I'm projecting up to 20 to 25 deaths, which are not included in this 363 figure. We were so overwhelmed with the work that was related to the deaths that are happening at the moment or happened at the time when the Delhi protests began, that we couldn't work on the list, but we are trying to work on a list of deaths before 24th of November 2020. So on this blog, so I've written that this blog is updated bi-weekly. I update it twice a week now. Earlier, I used to do it more frequently, because there are a lot of reasons for that, for which I will discuss that later. So I updated this blog today, and I've written the name of the people who have helped me along the journey, which started as a lone affair, like Eklo Chalo, but then there are a lot of comrades, a lot of people who came along, and they just slid into it, as in it was a very organic process in which they became part of it, and everybody found a place for themselves. And now I don't call it a blog that I maintain. It is a blog that is maintained by everyone who helps me, including Dr. Amandeep, who has been uh, broadcasting the death toll and broadcasting and talking about the blog and in various social media, as well as other journals or newspapers, etc. So I was first person who approached me was Harinder Happy. Then I was approached by Sajneet Mangad, and then later by now I'm constantly being helped by Amar Mandair and Jai Singh Sandhu, who maintains a memorial page dedicated to these martyrs on Trolley Times and the Other Wave website. Along with that, he also maintains a Dropbox, wherein every day whenever I check out the newspaper reports, I click the screenshot of the photos and then I send it to him. And whenever he gets time, he drops it all in a public Dropbox, from where anybody who wants to create any kind of event related to these deaths, etc., can take the data from. And then there is this, at the very beginning, I put the list of suicides which stand at 26. So this list is not exhaustive list in the sense that of all the farmers who've killed themselves during these 4 to 6 months of the protest, but these are those suicides which occurred in relation to the protest, in the sense that they must have left some kind of a suicide note, or they had been present at the protest, they participated in the protest in one way or the other, there was some relation to the protest. It is just this. But since I read the newspapers every day to look for death reports, I can tell you that the number of these deaths should be 5 to 6 times of the actual farmers committing suicide because of farm deaths and other problems related to the farming. Also, I want to point out that this suicide list is not exclusively of farmers. There are people who belong to other professions as well who are included in this. There is a lawyer, there is an educationalist, there is a person from the Sant Samaj, and so there are so many people who are not related to the farming, but they have also committed suicide in the favor of farmers. So that is the thing that is one element that I've added in terms that I wanted to highlight in terms of the suicide. And so this is a list of deaths that started from 24th of November. I did not start writing this blog on 24th of November. This was first published on 9th of December 2020. I obviously went back and looked for news reports on whatever I could find. Earlier I was able to put pictures, but then later, after I think 150 or something, I stopped adding pictures because I couldn't do that without a laptop. And I have been updating these blogs from my iPad, from my phone, whenever I can. It's that just taking out that time from my daily routine to get back to it. So that's how this is what I've been doing. And in terms of my methodology as to what led me to do it, well, I don't know. To be honest, I can think to myself as to what could it be? Why would I just sit down and do this and do it over and over again? And especially, I am the person who can't even fill forms. I pay people to fill forms for me. I bribe people to fill forms for me. This is like a form filling activity, because again, there is a column and I have to fill it every day. And routine is another thing that I am not used to. But this list is something, there must be something driving in this activity that kept me going. And so initially I used to think that it started with, as Amandeep sir pointed out, that sorry, I'm not supposed to call him sir. Anyway, Amandeep pointed out that when I was posting my grandfather's cuttings of the newspaper from 1984, personal diary account of Panwar, which is called Diary de Panne Jo Itihas Ban Gaye. But I think it started way back. It started way back when I was a student of literature, and the first time we read The Shadow Lines. And along with The Shadow Lines, we were taught this side text called Ghosts of Mrs. Gandhi by Amitav Ghosh. So that I think was the point, that was the first driving force, I think, that has transformed or has materialized into this list at this particular moment. I think that was my starting point, my awareness of the cost of riots, my awareness of the cost of humanity that is involved in these kind of mindless violent activities that take place. And truth be told, I have been trying to translate that into Punjabi for over the years now. I translate 2 or 3 pages, then I forget it, then I go about this activity again. And then later, when I came back home one day, I always used to go to my village and collect my grandfather's book. He's no more. I was 6 months old when he died. So only connection I have with my grandfather is through these newspaper cuttings, through these books that are there. And so suddenly I find one folder which was never opened over the years. And I open it and it's full of newspapers, and there's still more cuttings on it. Like there are the series as to Doshi Kaun of the November and all, which I have to scan. Anyhow, so that list, and that is one point where I realized why people are being killed mindlessly. And then came Corona, the COVID virus, and the apathy that we had towards people who were traveling, especially the people belonging to the farm, to the labor class, who had no place to be at, who were being killed mindlessly on highways, walking on the highways, and they were crushed by the trucks and everything. And I was like, all that we care about is one line of GDP and economics, something that is a man-made system, something that is not even real, and the real life is lost. And then CAA protest, and ultimately the farmers protest. And the one day, I think it was, I vividly remember, it was the day then Ajay Moore died, and he died from hypothermia. And that was my trigger. I just had to sit down. And I think another influence would be Chicago 7, where they had written down the names in the history to be remembered. So when I sat down, I had no plan. I just wanted to know. First was the curiosity, just what happened, how many people, who are there. And I found out few numbers, and the arrangement, if you can see from the first post to last post, it has evolved as a system. I did not have those many categories earlier, but I knew to some point that we had to attribute it to something. There has to be some proof as to who were these people, and if this is a true news. And secondly, my other reason was to get as much data on them as is possible, so that the help could reach them. If this is a movement, people are funding this movement, people are donating towards this movement, people are dying for this movement. So some kind of help should reach them. And that is the reason why I have been trying to add as much information as is possible I'm not trying to create any sense of regionalism here, but I do point out which district, which state they belong to, just so that, the help, adequate help, could reach the families. And whenever we get a news that somebody is doing something about it or somebody is helping them, that's the only thing that we expect from this list.
If I can add another thought that comes to mind, you're also from Muktsar, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes.
That also has a historical resonance with death, with
Yes, the name itself is Muktisar. That it is a place of the 40 Muktars, the 40 Muktars who lost their lives for Guru Gobind Singh Ji's battle.
Yeah. So, but now that you showed the site to everybody, I would you rushed through certain things there, but let's look at it at more detail. Something very important that you mentioned is that you are actually supported by some other people as well, and my thanks to all of you, your whole team, actually, thanks from all of us to all of you. But would you want to say what they think about the work that you are doing? We had talked about it over the phone.
Yes,
So
so
would you like to, yeah.
Yeah, sure. But I asked them to write something, anything as to why did they come to me? Why did they message me? Why did they want to be associated with this blog? Or why were they even sharing the link of this blog over and over again, creating slides or infographics? So there is a person called Jai Singh Sandhu, and he's originally from Barnala. He lives in Australia. He's also the one who's managing the Gadar Wave, the website, as well as the page on Instagram, wherein he keeps on updating, he keeps on adding updates about farmers' protest. He also runs funding drives, day-to-day funding drives, along with Hemkund Foundation, Zahar Theerath Singh. So Jai Singh Sandhu was one of the first people, I think, who actually started circulating the blog link on his page. And that started when I saw him quoting a wrong figure. And then I messaged him on Instagram and I told him, you are quoting a really wrong figure. And instead of, being defensive, he said, this is a figure I got from Trolley Times. And then I was like, then they are quoting the wrong figure. You should, this is the link to my blog. Take a look at it and please inform it, because the national media and is not reporting the right figures, and this is wrong. It's ethically wrong to suppress information. So I approached him, and from that day onwards, every week he would post about it with the number of total deaths that have happened. Then according to him, what he sent me as a write-up was this, that he thought that he was losing, just a second, I will read what he had sent to me. So I'm just quoting him. I'm going to read his testimonial right now. Says, the lack of Sikhi values in myself and other young kids was already bothering me somewhere. And when these new farm bills were passed, I could easily see how it would attack the farming and culture of Punjab directly, which would further affect Sikhism. I strongly feel that if Sikhi's primary place, which is Punjab, becomes financially weak, it will be tough for it to flourish and deliver its message across the globe. Although coming from a farming family, I used to play in the fields and drive a tractor since I was a kid, but it was more than emotional connection with farming that made me participate in the protest. The guilt of drifting away so much from the values of the gurus that taught me played a significant role as well. And that's one of the reasons, he obviously, because he's been living in Australia for so long, and he feels this kind of responsibility and attachment towards the land that he's left behind. It is for this land that I can see that he works 24/7. He's not only been working along with this list, he made it his own responsibility to take pictures from me, to post a similar blog on the Trolley Times website, then maintain it on the Gadar website, Gadar Wave website. So that's the role that Jai Singh Sandhu has been playing. Then there is another person called Amar Mander. Amar Mander, he operates this another page also called Unfriendly Robot, which again provides updates on farmers' protests. And he approached me in a sense that, I've been trying to keep a list along with your list. And I think there is an error. I think you've repeated 2 entries. So that's how it was. And then obviously that helped me. And then over time, he would send me links, whatever links he would come across of the reports on deaths, because as we know that the list the deaths are not reported, in a mainstream media, in a mainstream manner. They're reported sporadically. You have to look for it. You have to find it. Especially, I remember after 26th of January, I couldn't find it on the regular pages. I found it way back in the end, like on 13th page, which was like basically after the sports page too. So those kind of changes I've been noticing even in the local media, like Ajit. This incident is from Ajit newspaper. So he would go on, and he's also told another person to go keep on looking for links. So which helped me in a manner that once I've gone through all the newspapers, then I would go take a look at his links and then tally everything. If any information is missing from my link, I could get it from the links that he was sending. And he also kind of proofread, right, for me, because he could tell if I've made any kind of mistake in the name, if any correction is to be done, if he has another source. So that is the role that Amar Mandair has been playing. Also the role of pushing me. At times he would like, when are you going to update the blog? That is his message every day. Like, okay, are you updating it now? These are the links. But he has been very active, especially during these times. And I remember we were at 147 on the blog when he started working with me, and we are working very much like a team. And I've also added him as admin, but he would only update when there is any kind of emergency when I can't update. So I'm trying to create those kind of alternate systems also. So God forbid anything happens to me, somebody can manage it. So other than that, there's been Harinder Happy. He was the first person who approached me. Harinder Happy, he I think works with the media team of SKM, and so that was also one of the important events in my life when Harinder Happy, approached me on my blog, because he commented on my blog. Yes, Simi.
The
Oh, sorry. Yes.
SKM is Sanयुkt Kisan Morcha. For those who
Hanji.
might not know, yeah.
SKM, sorry. Yeah, SKM is a Sanयुkt Kisan Morcha. So he's been working actively with, I think, Dr. Darshan Pal, as much as I know from the phone conversation, because I've not met anybody in the team. I've not even seen their faces except for those on their Instagram and social media. I've not even, like, except for Sajneet, I've not even had a video call with anyone. But we just fit into the system. We work effortlessly without any kind of friction. So anyhow, so he commented on my blog, and at that time, some 15-20 deaths had happened. This was the very beginning of the time when I was writing. I think when I was making the blog, the last week of December. And he says, your list needs to be updated. And I have the list of people here. Tell me where can I contact you? And he left his contact email and phone number and everything. And then I call him up. Then he has some kind of data that SKM was maintaining. I took that data, which was a little incomplete, but at least I had the names. I had names and some other data, which I could fill from finding information in the newspapers, etc. later. But that was an important moment for me, because until that point, I thought that I'm just doing this activity. I don't think there is anybody. I'm just sending it to people I know. Like, take a look who are participating in the farmers' protest. Like, take a look, I'm doing this. These are the number of people who, have been murdered. I still call it a murder. All these deaths are accidents. None of these are from natural causes. So, so I thought that it matters. When he commented, it felt like, no, it matters, and it matters more than I think. It's not something like a simple activity where I'm maintaining a personal journal for my own interest. This is something that has gone public, and people are dependent on it. So from that moment on, I started working with Harinder. I would try to find out more information if I would not have any particular information. So in that sense, he assisted me. At times, sometimes the deaths would be reported to the media before, to the SKM before, then they could reach us. So he would send that to me. So I would always be for a lookout on the newspapers for the information related to that, so that I can source it. The main issue was of sourcing the information. So that's where Harinder Happy comes in. Harinder Happy, I think he's studying at TIS at the moment, TIS Hyderabad. And he has also written a kind of a testimony. I'll read the first reason, the biggest thing which he says. I'll just read an excerpt from whatever he said, because he's written a very long testimonial. The biggest thing which pushed me to do this work was to acknowledge these sacrifices. I'm quoting Harinder Happy. In order to strengthen this protest, many people were resigning from their offices, many people were donating their capitals, many people were arranging logistics and food. All these works were highly praised and appreciated. Humans who were sacrificing their lives were getting only very little space in corner of the newspaper. And this is not the first time. The deaths in war or movements are merely seen as numbers. Learning from the past, I tried to collect social economic data of the martyred families. And then the second reason comes from the absolute unfortunate, which we have been observing. The government had stopped keeping data of farmers' suicide after 2018. The unemployment data and even NSSO data were unpublished. As this government is completely violating human rights and ignoring sacrifices, I was scared of the fact that any fair day, they can come and say, we don't have any data on how many farmers died. And sadly, this exactly happened when Agriculture Minister said that in the parliament. This is because we are maintaining the data. We are able to send the list of the farmers who lost their lives in this movement. So that is what drove Harinder happy, being in academic space, being in that social or politics space. He was aware of what was happening, which a layman is not aware of. And then probably that's where he's using his, I think, knowledge to help people around him. For those, the laymen who don't know anything about such kind of changes that the government is trying to make. Amar Mandyair had also sent in a testimonial. I'll just take a minute to read from him, because I think they are as important a part of this blog as I am. And this is not my blog. This is everyone's blog. And it is everyone's blog who want to use it as well. So I will just read a part from here. I think the main issue with Amar Mandyair was that he was surrounded by these privileged class people who would not acknowledge the sacrifices of the farmers and think that they have nothing to do with this protest because they are privileged. So he says that I waited until the last moment to write this, for I don't know where to begin, as there is much to say. Like many of us, I was appalled at the audacity with the bills were passed, and until I wasn't even aware of how those would affect the farmers. On further reading, it became clearer to me that these laws would only worsen the already critical situation farmers face on daily basis. Us privileged may yet not fully understand how it must feel when your livelihood is threatened, carefully planned to be taken away, robbery made legal, and handed over to the already rich. But yet we can empathize. So I did. Empathizing alone does not help, for I felt helpless, being aware of what is it come to and not knowing enough to help. It's rather sad how our comfort cocoons dissociate us with our own kind. Our current economic system enables it by making sure that we are automatically detached from the problems of the others. So no wonder when I started talking about the bills, my friends and etc., it felt like I was banging my head against the wall. Sadly, many don't care, and even more cannot comprehend of what it could ultimately cost us. And then there are those who find it too political for their privileged high perch. My conscience couldn't allow me to not raise my voice when I had one, and so I kept at it. So this is one of the excerpts from his testimonial. I could not get one from Sajneet. I did message her, but probably there were some issues that she was dealing with. Hopefully, I was also thinking of writing another blog along with this list where we can add these testimonies.
No, definitely. And thank you to Jay, to Happy, to Amar, to all of you. I mean, and what you actually dwelt upon is how difficult it is to find information, and how even more difficult it is to cross-verify information. And that is perhaps one of the reasons why historically, as I said earlier, we don't get the toll numbers right, and very, very good that you're doing it. I would like to bring in Dr. Simi Varach into it. It's been half an hour, we haven't spoken. Dr. Varach, suicides normally become the talking point of such deaths, though every death is important. But suicides also help us segue into mental health issues around the protests. Anu, I'll come and take your views on suicides after Dr. Varach's views. Would you like to speak, Dr. Varach? On why are the suicides happening? What do you see them as? Anu has certain particular names that she wants to raise anyway. So, but let's hear from you first.
Yeah. Thank you, Amandeep. It was really enlightening to hear Anurup, and I think that's been the hallmark of these, the farmers' protests. They've kind of touched a chord with everyone. There have been so many people who have been going there repeatedly. One of my friends, I think, has gone a number of times, and she was there on the 25th night as well, and she spent the night in one of the tents at Singhu border. And the next day, after there was some the trouble that went on there, and then she had to hitch a lift back to Chandigarh. But then the next time that we went, she went with us again. So I think it's just that people are so emotively connected. There's so many people who are from a farming background, but even otherwise, I mean, one has met people from a non-farming background, maybe because they live with in the villages and in small towns, so they have friends, they're connected with those people. And so every day when you cross, in fact in Chandigarh we have this thing that on most of the roundabouts, when you cross in the evening between 5 to 8, you have citizens, people from those sectors standing at the roundabouts and waving flags and asking for support. And they've been doing this day in and day out for so many months now. And one really wonders at their perseverance and persistence. And one day when I was free a little early from the hospital, and I just stopped at the roundabout and I stood with them, and then I waved the flags with them and spoke to some of them about what keeps them coming in and day out. And they just have this resolve and this uh, connection with the farmers, that if they are sitting out there for so many months, and this is the least we can do, to come out of our houses between 5 to 8 and do this. So about the suicides, I think, you know I think empathy is a big thing. So there's some people who do feel a lot of empathy when they go there and they see how people are living there. That is what made Anurup do what she has, and that is why the people who have been with her, Jai Singh Sandhu and Amar Mandir, who she mentioned, they're all people who may not have been here, but they feel that connection and they feel the empathy, and they feel that these people are sitting over there, and it's been months before they started sitting at the borders. They were at the rail roko agitation. So I think where suicide is concerned, what happens is that sometimes that hopelessness creeps in, and a helplessness creeps in, that nothing seems to be happening. And at the end of the day, we don't know whether anything will come out of it. So that hopelessness and that inability to think that no, maybe there is something will happen, sometimes creeps in. And the as far as suicidal thoughts are concerned, often people do express them, but many people who do end up completing suicide may not even express these thoughts. In fact, sometimes they even isolate themselves from family members. They may become more distant and communicate less. They may show other signs of depression, like sleeping too much or sleeping too little, or agitation. And at times later on in retrospect, some people may be able to look back and think that, okay, this person did communicate this to me, and maybe I did not catch it in time. So but still it is very difficult to tell who will eventually end up completing suicide. But I think farmer suicides even earlier have happened. It's a big issue all over India. In fact, there have been studies, and in PAU, Professor Sarabjit Singh, along with the Punjabi University of Patiala, there have been PhD students there who have been going to the villages, talking to people who have completed suicide and people who attempted but did not complete. And they were trying to understand what was going on, and also trying to set up a system. So, somewhere I think awareness among people about talking about mental health. A lot of times people do not communicate that, they're feeling sad or hopeless. They may say that, they've got a headache, or they've got heaviness of their head up in their head, or they've got chest pain, or they've got stomach problems. It's only when you ask them that, how is your mood and how do you feel? Do you feel good about things? Do you do things like you used to do? Do you enjoy doing things? Then they tell you that, no, I don't. And I don't feel like doing anything. I have a lack of interest. I feel listless. Kuch karan nu ji nahi karta. Then they start communicating. And in fact, it's relieving for them to actually express that then. And so these are the things where we need to educate people about how you can talk to people. There are a lot of myths also. In fact, a lot of people believe that if you talk about suicide, maybe the person's suicidal thoughts will increase. But usually, if you do ask a person that, do you have suicidal thoughts or do you have thoughts of dying, it may help that person, because if they're able to tell you that they do, then that's one step forward. So, and then the next step forward would also be, that I'm there for you to listen if you want to talk, or I'm there for you. We can go and talk to a doctor. You can go and talk to any doctor out there. So, these are things that need to be discussed more and more. Psychological first aid actually is something that need not be always done by mental health professionals. Psychological first aid can be provided by anyone. So, the basic things are to just look at the person, communicate with them, and talk to them, address their concerns, see that their basic needs are met, and then, if needed, link them to someone, link them to a mental health professional or even a doctor. So I think in Punjab, a lot of people are very educated now. A lot of people do have knowledge about where to go to, because there are other issues as well. There are people who are going for treatment for de-addiction. There are people who are practically psychiatrists in most small towns and villages. So gradually it is becoming more and more open, but still there's a big apprehension about talking about mental health, talking about suicide. And I think in the farmers agitation, I think these things can be discussed. There are some doctors who have gone there and spoken about this on stage, about how not to keep your feelings to yourselves, and go and talk about it to someone if you are feeling that you have been having mood swings, or they've been persisting for some time. So I think what Anurup and the rest of these young people are doing is invaluable. I mean, chronicling these so that they can be, the data is there and they just don't get forgotten. And that's something that's so important, because otherwise it's just another figure, another uh, photographs don't even come in the newspapers anymore, and it's just a small news item. Like she said, it gets pushed to the background.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah. We'll come to symptoms and triggers in a while. But Anu wanted to add a few things about the suicide, and here I would want to mention one particular death. I agree with Anu. Actually, all of them are state murders, but there was one death which was a particular state murder with a bullet. Navreet was killed. Police, of course, denies it, but Anu had some comments about some of the other deaths, suicides that happened. I am particularly shattered by something I saw about 3 days back on somebody's Instagram, in which there is a statement by a educationist actually, and he gives about a 2.5 minute talk and says that, okay, I'm going and I'll meet the PM upstairs, and then we'll talk. I was stunned by the poise with which he stated it. He went live on Facebook. Anu knows more. Anu can tell us about it. Yeah.
So this is what I was even getting at. When it came to suicide, this is one thing that even I mentioned while I was showing the list, which I'll show in a moment because one needs to take a look at it to understand it better. That all the suicides related to this protest are not done by the farmers. There are few, like 2 to 3, which are done by people who do not belong to farming community. One is by Sant Samaj, the very first suicide by Sant Ram Singh. The second one by the one advocate, Amarjeet Singh. And then this educationist that Amandeep sir is, Amandeep Sandhu is talking about is that of Mukesh Dagar. And he committed suicide just 2 or 3 days ago after coming live on Facebook, then explaining the problems related to the protest and how farmers are suffering at the hands of the government. And then he blatantly blamed Prime Minister Modi for the reason that he's committing suicide. He's held him responsible for his suicide. He turns off the Facebook Live and kills himself. There's a video out there, and these are the kind of things that, again, yes, shatters you. And this is also the reason why I created this data in the blog form. I want people to realize how much pain is there in these deaths, that you cannot skip by going through these neatly packed columns and rows of an Excel sheet. You will not find any kind of percentage data or any kind of, neat condensed data on this blog. You will have to read through everything. That is one reason why I put it there. But yes, it can have a lot of effect on anybody's mental toll. And we do put, suicide helpline link right at the beginning of the blog itself. So I'm going to share the content now and take you through each of these deaths, which are related to farmers' protests, but are not committed by the farmers themselves. So the first one is that of Ram Singh, Baba
Anu,
Ram Singh.
Anu,
Hanji. Shall I start with the last one?
No. Can I just add one little thing for the audience? Anu says in her blog that she's not making it easy to access, that everybody has to scroll through the whole thing so that at least we spend some minutes. Those who are interested in knowing the dead, they spend a few minutes scrolling through the blog, and they don't do, it's very easy to just go right to the bottom of it and scroll upwards and get the last number from it. But to actually go through, take the mouse through the whole thing, and then come to the last numbers, there is a certain thing in that gesture, and which is a reminder to you every day. I just wanted to add that to what you have done. Yeah.
In order, just a little addition to that also, that I thought that maybe I might write up something like go and make a list of how many women, how many men, which particular state, part, etc., age group. Then I thought that's not what this blog is anyway about. So I'm not come with any such figures, though I'm not going to give any such expectations. There are Excels for data visualization. We have Excels, but they're not going to go out public. People need to work on it. I mean, at least there should be some honest effort when it comes to those who have departed for a cause. So another aspect about suicide that I wanted to ask and talk about with Dr. Simi Varach also is this, that I have kind of written in a parenthesis here. So the first death by somebody who is not related to the farming communities by Baba Ram Singh, who is from village Safera, Patiala district, Punjab. And he was a Sikh priest. He committed suicide on 16th of December 2020. He died by suicide. He was 65 years of age, and he died by suicide. He had written a death note as well, a handwritten note in Punjabi from the deceased was found, which the police are reviewing. It purportedly says that Sant Ram Singh felt government is not doing justice to these farmers. And again, so this suicide as a form of protest in the same manner as Tibetan monks who self-immolate themselves to protest against the illegal occupation of Tibet by China is something that I want to discuss, in the sense that could protest also be a form of, could suicide be also a form of social protest? Because similar kind of protests have been taking place in Tibet by the Tibetan monks. And this actually, the Tibetan movement for the independence of their country has been one of the biggest non-violent movement that is taking place and has been taking place for years. So this is one thing I wanted to talk about. Then on 79, there is another death, which is by Amarjeet Singh, who is an advocate. So another thing that you can see the pictures, right? This is also suicide by Kashmir Singh. I think that this is at the Ghazipur border. And I do want to talk about the pictures as we get it. I'm so sorry. Um, so we'll move to 79, which is the death by an advocate, death by suicide. Amarjeet Singh, he was from Jalalabad, Fazilka district, Punjab. He was an advocate. He died by suicide on 24th of December 2020. From
Modi
his
the dictator.
photo, no, sorry.
A suicide note was found in his pocket, which said,
Yeah, a purported suicide note was found in his pocket that was addressed to Modi, the dictator. The note said that he was offering himself as a sacrifice in the support of the protests. The typewritten letter is dated December 18 and purportedly bears the advocate's signature. Again, the similarity between going on Facebook Live and keeping your composure and then typing out a letter and calling your death a sacrifice, in the same manner like Sant Ram Singh. And then the last death, which is in the last it's a long list. So this one is a recent one, which is again committed by someone who does not belong, Mukesh Dagar. He was from Rohtak district. He was a school teacher. Sorry, this needs to be edited. He was a school teacher in a private school, as well as an educator, and was one part of the management. He was of the age 45, and he killed himself, or he basically, I would say, died by suicide on 6th of April 2021, consumed poison, and blamed Modi for his suicide and central government's apathy against farmers and imposition of 3 black laws of farm policy. He came online on Facebook Live and expressed his grief on pitiable condition of the farmers braving human and environmental forces for the last 4 months and highlighted the apathetic stance of the central government against them. He blamed Modi for it and suicide, and his suicide before he consumed the poison. He belonged to the PWD category as well. So the kind of strength I feel that is required to even kill yourself
I,
is immense.
yeah.
I feel.
I think what you're asking, there are a lot of psychiatrists on this group. Satyan is there, Dr. Sabira Birk is there, and they'll can have their own, give their own opinions. But basically, yes, there are many different types of suicide that have been talked about, and one of them is, what altruistic suicide, where it may be, it's just a name given to it, to the type, but basically where people feel strongly connected to the community, and when there's an upheaval going on and they feel that they may, maybe in some way that could bring light, or that could bring the focus, and it could maybe help in some way, though of course it's not required. There are a lot of other things that could be done, but some way, those people end up feeling that maybe in some way they could also contribute to the cause, and whatever it is, whether it's a community or a nation or a religion or a political rebellion. So like you mentioned about the Tibetan monks, but it's so unfortunate that this happens. But yes, this does happen all over. It's seen in many different places. So there are many different types of suicide that are given. Anomic is again when there's a lot of social upheaval going on in society, or egoistic suicide, fatalistic, and altruistic.
There is one thing I just wanted to add, that there are few people who've written to the president that if the president is not going to resolve this bill's issue, then they should be allowed to kill themselves. So there's a petition that has been sent to the president as well by few men who have asked for the permission to kill themselves in relation to the protest of me.
Hmm.
Uh,
I think we,
let
you
me
know,
just move on
maybe
to
this should be looked into. Amandeep.
of course, it should be looked into. We're waiting for the government to say a word. I mean, the Haryana minister actually insulted the deaths at the farmers' protest, a few weeks back. It's a brazen government. It's a cruel government. But moving on to, I hope everybody is okay that we might take an. I predict about half an hour more. This is such an important topic. I hope Preeti is okay with me. Preeti, just message me if you're okay. Chamak sir, I know you're getting delayed, but I hope you're okay with it, please.
No problem, no problem,
Yeah.
Amit, please.
Yeah. Anu, I would like to come back to one more question to you later. But Dr. Varach, you and I, when we spoke, you said that like a number of doctors held health camps in all the three, and then fourth, the Shahjahanpur site as well. A number of doctors done, or at least meeting a counselor, whatever. And to Anu's questions on the pointer on suicides, I just want to tell all the psychiatrists in the audience, we will come to you with 15-20 minutes so that you can then hold forth like Dr. Raj did. You can also tell us about that. But Dr. Simi, would you like to tell us about the triggers and the symptoms which people should look out for?
Hmm. Yeah, just briefly, actually, this fatigue is also going to set in because people are going to the sites and then they go back and then they come back again, and it's just endless. I mean, no one really knows how long this is going to carry on. Of course, people do say, chardi kala charaote, this something that we can sit it out, but it's easier said than done. And that fatigue is going to set in, and somewhere I think the symptoms that we have to look out for are many, actually. Like I said earlier, that it could be just physical symptoms. In fact, in India, most people come up with physical symptoms. So that's why a lot of people go to the gastroenterologist, they'll go to the medical specialist, to an orthopedic surgeon with physical symptoms, neurologist. And a lot of those doctors then know that, okay, there is some depression going on, because you can tell when there are many different symptoms, maybe a headache or maybe a stomach ache and gas and palpitations and chest pain. So a lot of physical symptoms that people come up with. The psychological symptoms, of course, are irritability, social isolation, and mood swings, sleep problems, maybe increased sleep or decreased sleep, aggression at times, or flaring up of the temper, and appetite may get disturbed. Some people may even start drinking more alcohol or turn to opium, because opium is a drug that easily available, and uh, it doesn't have a smell of that alcohol does. So these kind of things are common, and they can be even memory and concentration problems that can start happening. So I think any kind of change in behavior that family members or friends notice. In fact, in the buddy program in Punjab for drug de-addiction, that is what they started. They started counseling the buddies or friends, that if you notice a change in your friends' behavior, what are the questions you could ask, or how could you be there for them? And that support, or the peer support, could really be very helpful.
So
So
what are
I
some
think
of the questions, for example?
some of the questions could be that, I've noticed a change in you, and how are you feeling? Are you having any sleep problems? Are you having any mood swings? How is your mood most of the time? Is it persistently low? Or are you enjoying things like you used to do before? Or have you lost interest in previously enjoyed activities? And one can even ask that, do you have any death wishes? Because if people do have suicidal thoughts, it does help to talk about it. And then, of course, to try and connect them with someone, we should not try and force information out of them, and we should reassure them that whatever they say is confidential. So confidentiality should be assured, and that is something that maybe is lacking, because at the borders, they have a small kind of a tent, and there's a chair and a table, so people can't really go and talk much because there are other people waiting in the background, and so they don't feel that they have that confidentiality. So a lot of, even if a friend talks or a family member, it's important to ensure confidentiality, that I won't tell other people if you don't want me to. And basically to assess that how can we help you at this time? Is there something you want at this time? Is there something we can help you with? So to provide that, I think, is helpful. And in Punjab, they did make a start with the buddy program, so they could go forward.
Yeah, so just try to break it up for me. Suppose Anu and I both are at the protest, and Anu asks me these questions, and I say yes to most of them. Yes, I feel tired. Yes, I don't feel like waking up. Yes, my mood is down, and now she has that information on me. Now, in Punjab, when you have a buddy program, it is being overseen by a department. It's being overseen by doctors. Here, where does Anu take this information about me? Who should she contact that I need help? So what can we do possibly in the protests for that?
So there are doctors there at the protest sites, and most doctors would be able to help if we do tell them about this. They do know about mood elevators and antidepressants. But these days there's telecounseling also available, and there are people, because of COVID, a lot of OPDs are closed. So a lot of people could access someone through telecounseling. There are helplines, like the TIS helpline in Bombay is there, which is accessible all over India. There are other helplines which then guide you to other people, can tell you that, okay, why don't you go and meet a doctor in your area? And so most cities do have psychiatrists available. And a lot of psychiatrists did, of course, uh, offer some of the medical sites at Singhu border and Tikri that if required, they could be contacted. But I think there was no concerted kind of an effort or concerted kind of phone numbers that were sent out to people that, okay, these are the numbers you can contact. But there are national helplines which can help connect to people. Like in Government Medical College, Chandigarh also, there is a helpline, and they help to, there's a ASHA helpline. And people can call in there. They give you counseling and they listen to you. It has been going on for many years, and then they can further help you to connect to someone like a doctor or a psychiatrist.
Thank you.
I
think that could be an action item from our talk.
Just to add to
Yeah.
that, I have put a link for the list of helplines which are available in India for anyone to contact, which is right at the top of the blog. I can project it later, but it's right there. You tap onto it, and even the areas closer to you, the helpline numbers and the addresses are available there on the blog itself. I picked it up from Hindu or Wire, some newspaper, but I took the link from there and put it on the website.
Hi, this is Savira. I'm not presentable, so I'm not going to come on the video. I might interject here. I'm in Seattle area in Washington, DC in the US. And hello, Amandeep. It's good to see you. And thank you, Simi, for allowing me to be a part of this super wonderful discussion. I'm so grateful. So what we do here is for depression screening, we use the public health questionnaire 2, which is PHQ-2. For detailed depression, we use PHQ-9. And the simple 2 questions in PHQ-2 are, have you lost interest or pleasure in daily activities? The second one is, have you been feeling down, depressed, or hopeless? So even a layperson could use those two questions or could be instructed on using those two questions. And if people say yes, then we refer them to the mental health. So any layperson could, be asking everybody those questions, and whoever screens positive goes for further help. So I hope that helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Savera. The situation on the protest site is not that organized, and
also
it needs
trust.
a different kind of effort. But let me before we open it to folks from psychiatry and mental health spaces and others who want to speak, I want to conclude the talk by asking Anu a very important question. Somebody's mic is on. Please switch it off. Please.
It's Satyan Sharma.
Yeah. So okay, they've switched it off. Anu, while we are on the topics of death, there have been certain efforts to reach out to the families of those who have lost people. Many of the deaths, I might be not off the mark if I say that many of the deaths are also related to farm debt. Many of them have huge debts on them. Huge could range from 3 to 5 to 7, maybe more lakhs, which is almost impossible. As they say, kheti lahe band nahi rahi. So with these laws coming, farmers and labor are really scared that they will not have the money to pay back. And it also comes from that desperation, sadness comes from it, heart attacks come from it, some suicides also can come from it. But now the Punjab government has offered some compensation. The SGPC has offered some compensation. How many inquiries? I'm not saying give me a number. Atam Pragas, for example, is trying to work in this space, but tell us a little more about how can common people rise up to help these families who have lost close ones,
So when I started doing it, there wasn't anyone who was working particularly and specifically for the fallen farmers. There were a few inquiries made by individual activists, and I don't know what did they do with that information. So if anybody needs information, the contact information is available with the SKM. Harinder Happy's contact I can easily provide to anyone who would come and approach me. There is an email ID for the blog itself. It's same ID as the name of the blog, Human Cost of Farmers Protest @gmail.com. Easy to remember. The thing is that apart from Atam Pargas, I haven't seen any kind of dedicated effort wherein people have actually reached out to the families at the ground level. So I would suggest that if you really want to make any kind of donations or if you want to fund any kind of drives, please go to Atam Pargas's website or their Instagram channel. They've been doing tremendously good work in this sector, in the sense that they have their volunteers on ground. They go to each village. They approach them, for example, Sarpanch, and they have also found out each and everybody's contact, which we also might not have, because from the names and the district and the village name, they went to the village and they sent the team to the Sarpanch to find out how many more people are there. And they go to each one's house. They try to assess their financial as well as their emotional condition. All the volunteers go to each house. They not only provide them with finance, they just do. It's not about throwing money at the people who've lost somebody so valuable, an important human being in their life, somebody's father, somebody's brother, somebody's husband, somebody's child. So what they do is they try to assess their emotional condition. They provide as much help as they can in terms of the emotional side of this aspect, because it's not a number game at all. It's not about how many died and how much money will they get, etc. Along with that, they make people aware of the government compensation scheme, which is 5 lakh rupees. And they also try to find out if they have already availed it. Now, if somebody has not availed that, they make sure that those people get it. They put in their papers, they do all the work for them. Apart from that, they also find out if any child is without education. They provide them free education. They are associated with institutions. I would also like to point out that this organization is run by ex-scientists from Punjab Agriculture University. Even the scientists who are working at the Punjab Agriculture University, like Dr. Varinder Pal, and also helped through by other intellectuals working in different fields, like ex principals or current principals of different colleges and schools. So in that sense, they're also able to provide scholarship to the children of the farmers who have died in these protests. They also offer, in a sense, that if any of the member of the family, now if they don't have livelihood, they anyway, most of the farmers are landless farmers with, like you rightly said, with a lot of debt on their head. So if the debt money is too much, they will try to do something in the financial manner to lesser that burden. Along with that, they also help them with opportunities to fund themselves. Like they might help them open a grocery shop. They might help them with some kind of innovation in farming. If they still have a farmland, help them with that. And also each volunteer adopts the family for 15 to 20 years. They look into the progress made and what all help would the family require for the next 15 to 20 years. And they're also getting them the mandi insurance for health, which is of, I think, again 5 lakh rupees, which can help them with the bills at the hospital, etc. Atam Pargas, I would say, is one trustworthy website where you can go, where you can contribute to. Otherwise, I cannot tell of any medium. I don't know who is working dedicated towards this particular sector. Also, if they're working genuinely, there is a sense of authenticity. There is a point of authenticity that comes up. So I never put the phone. I did that earlier. Some people, with their consent, I have put the phone numbers of their family members in some posts, but I stopped doing that because this information can be easily misused by people who are opportunists. And I would only suggest Atam Pargas at this moment. The one that I have seen through and through. I've put the link of Atam Pargas on the blog itself. I got to know about it from news report in Punjabi Tribune when they were doing a press conference about this initiative. So Atam Pargas, yes, is something that everybody should follow. Take a look. You can also be a volunteer. If you don't want to donate the money in your area, in your district, just go to your village, be a volunteer in your village. It's as easy to participate with Atam Pargas.
Yeah. Thank you, Anu. Dr. Wadaj, would you like to add anything?
No, I think we should open the discussion.
Yeah, let's listen to others. At the end of it, we'll make a comment or two. Yeah, please.
Just before you open it to the people, there was one comment that you made that most deaths are related for deaths, right? Deaths on farmers. But it's not, there are deaths, but I don't think that could have had as much impact if this protest was not going on and would have pushed them as much.
Oh, yeah. Oh, completely.
In terms of suicide, and if they were still surviving and didn't commit suicide and died from heart attack or something else, that was more because of the cold, I feel.
Yeah, I think I read on Dr. Kala's post one day, I'm not a medical person, but cold also constricts arteries, and arteries constriction causes heart attacks, but we'll come to a last comment from both of you. I just want to state one thing. I mean, lest everybody thinks that Atam Pargas is the only institute. I hope there are others. I hope they are more visible. In fact, I remember Anu and I having this talk about 2 months back when she was in this work, when I noticed her, and I said, see, looking at social histories of our times, I personally have a very different relationship with money for death, that kind of equation. I'm not very comfortable with it. Of course, I understand it's required. That's another topic altogether. But we just hope that there are more and more support groups among us who can help these people who are losing their lives and their families and their children and their grandparents. But coming back to Anu's main question on suicides, Dr. Satyan came in earlier. There are other doctors. Let's hear from them for a while. Yeah. I'm opening it up to anybody who wants to speak. But just keep the time factor a bit in mind, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, please.
We
Hello.
there's Heidi, and then we have Dr. Baljeet as a participant.
Hello.
I would request Satyan, please mute yourself. I'm requesting you again.
Please just raise your hand if you
Hello.
want to make a comment.
The host invited me to unmute. So is this my cue to speak, please? And if you could please switch on my video as well. Okay, thank you. Firstly, it's a great opportunity to be here, and all very valid points. And I think the first and most important issue which we are addressing today is the issue of suicide, death by suicides. Now, understanding suicides, there's a very strong cultural context to why a Punjabi man dies by suicide. And I think it's very well mentioned in the author's book, that particular concept of Mardangi. You know, the loss of face, of being the breadwinner, the earner, and along with this toxic masculinity, there is also a culture of not talking about your issues and your problems, because that will be considered as weak. So this is an excellent time for us to do a lot of mental health awareness, bringing up, saying that having a suicidal thought is not a sign of weakness. Being depressed is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help, in fact, is a sign of strength. So we can change this little cultural mental block which we have and address that. Also, there are two major areas where work needs to be done. First is, of course, the protest site itself. But one would generally see that at the protest site itself, the mahal is very much of a chardi kala. There is a lot of positivity flowing around. People from different villages are meeting each other. There are communal food being prepared. There are activities to keep them busy. Right, and there's a common cause. One does not see that kind of despondency per se at the protest site. I've been there on more than one occasion. I was there on the 26th January with the ambulances, trying to provide first responders and first aid to both the police personnel as well as the farmers who were part of the protest. And I tell you, there it is relatively better. One of the main dangers with suicide when it happens in such an emotionally charged state is the copycat suicide part. If one leader who's seen as a strength, as a trend setter, as somebody people look up to for behavior and for inspiration, when he dies, so after the very first death of the elderly gentleman, Mr. Ram Singh, there have been reports of copycat suicides. They have happened in pockets outside the protest areas. Of course, they have not been reported. Some information I have got through word of mouth. So, but it happens. The bigger problem, the bigger battleground becomes the people back home. Now that we have some members of the family gone out there and the rest of the people having to deal with uncertainty, hearing so much of negativity. So what we tried to do is create something called as a Psychiatrist for Humanity. It is going to be a group of psychiatrists based out of Punjab. And I'm looking at Dr. Simi to be a part of it very soon. I'm sure she would love to do that kind of a thing, where we set up at least 1 day a week physical clinic, and all of us can rotate being on these sites, providing first-hand mental health services. The second we can do with the help of technology is to provide virtual counselings and virtual support systems. Now, any person who mentions that he is feeling like ending it all, any person who mentions suicide, we as psychiatrists urge everybody, please take it as a red flag. Don't try to argue them out of it. Don't try to justify or preach to them why suicide is not the answer. That person is in pain. What he's looking at is a relief from pain. And every suicidal intent or expression is to be treated as a medical emergency. Get him to a doctor, get him to a psychiatrist. We will be, suicides today are the #1 cause, preventable cause of death amongst the youth. And if we already, I share the frustration with Amandeep would, or any right thinking person would, we have been trying to urge the government to come up with a suicide policy. My daughter wants to be part of the show, so I'll just pull her in. We want the government to actually take notice that this is a major loss of, preventable cause of loss of potentially very good human resource. Young people choose to die violently by suicides, and they are the ones who our future are. And one suicide does not just affect that family, it affects the entire environment. Imagine one suicide happening in your mohalla or in your village. Will you be able to eat normally that night? Will you be able to sleep normally that night? It will affect everybody. It will pull the entire quotient of happiness of humanity for probably a few kilometers around it. So suicide needs to be given the right kind of value and a station wherein people are okay talking about it. Once we start talking about it openly, we understand this is a human condition, can happen to anyone. We can, I think, find field solutions to this. Thank you, Amandeep. I think I've taken a lot of time.
Can't hear you.
Amandeep, please unmute yourself.
I said, thank you, Dr. Satyan. Thank you very much. Who's next?
Can I talk?
Yeah.
Is it me? Have you said yes to me, Amandeep?
Yeah. Okay, please come on.
So hi, my name is Simran Sandhu. We run a small FP group on We Support Our Farmers, and we've been doing a lot of panel discussions, and mental health was a subject that came up here as well. I live in the UK. So as a small initiative, we've got a lady called Dr. Kiran Sandhu. I'm actually coming back to Amandeep's point of, how there are small organizations that can help. She is a doctor in Guru Nanak Dev University, and she's done her own research. She's got a team of students that have been going in and around the villages in Amritsar, and she's got quite substantial data on, number of farmers who died in villages, what is the debt. Sometimes the debt is about 2 or 3 lakhs, which if you sort of look at it, if we do a bit of a crowd fundraising, it's quite easy to sort of help them. However, we've got to be mindful that we've got to make it sustainable for them, because every person's different. We don't want to just help them get rid of it and then it starts again, the circle starts again. So I'm just wanted to say that there is work being done by a small little group. And if people want to get in touch with anything or any ideas and suggestions, Amandeep has my number. I've also put it on the chat here. And also living abroad, I think it's very difficult for us to send money in pounds to an organization there. We've checked it out. It's very difficult. So it has to be an NGO, which is okayed by federal agencies, finance or something. So we've decided we could adopt a village, our own village, for instance. You've got your one village, you adopt somebody, speak to the sarpanch, speak to the person who needs support, and then take it from there. Small steps locally. So that's an idea that we've got, and it'd be lovely to touch base with you, Anurup, with the research that you've done, and maybe we can make a little difference in whatever you're doing. So thanks for that, and just get in touch with all of us together. We can do that. Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, Dr. Baljit.
Thank you, Arvinder. On behalf of the entire Majha, I would like to thank Majha House, Arvinder, Preeti, and my lovely friends Aman and Simi, and our lovely guest speaker. Yeah, I can see Jasmeet also here and a lot of us. So now, Aman, the whole conversation has gone from the deaths in the farmers' protests to the reason why they are dying and reason zeroing on to suicide and then coming on to how to develop a helpline. But I would suggest that we all could sit together and formulate a strategy as how we could be more effective and more, compact in giving a solution to it. Like, what are the preventive things that we could do, whether it is going and giving a questionnaire or making people understand, like a lot of inputs are coming in this meeting. And then we could create some signages, billboards, and put at various places, and who would take up those initiatives, and then further develop a referral pathway as those who need that help at the site, they could actually get to that help. And we could in fact develop from prevention to whatever we could provide to them. And then of course rehabilitation is what we are talking about. Once people are dying, you go up to their houses and try to help the family. But coming from the public health system, I would take home this
Thank you, ma'am.
message,
Thank
and
you
we
very
would go
much.
about it. Thank you so much, everybody, and it was really wonderful being part of this
Thank you, Dr. Baljeet.
this
Now,
evening. Thank you.
Gurpratap. So may I request Gurpratap to please,
Myself, Dr. Gopatap Sandhu, I'm psychiatrist. I belong to the Tantan district. My village is there, and I've seen the militancy wave very closely and lost two of my cousins in that
Sir,
wave.
I am also from Taran Taran.
My village is Khadur Sahib Tantan Highway.
Mine is Sugga, ji Sugga.
Yeah.
Pawind de Nahal.
हाँ जी मैं समझ ठीक है ਤੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਇੱਕੋ ਸੁਜੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਇੱਕ whatever little gains, daily gains which we are having from our struggle, this struggle, farmer struggle, ਆਪਾਂ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਸਟੇਜ ਤੋਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਲੜਾਈ ਲੰਬੀ ਚੱਲਣੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਅਜੇ ਸੋਲੂਸ਼ਨ ਲੱਗੇ, ਅਜੇ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਮੰਨਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ, but ਜੋ ਵੀ ਛੋਟੀਆਂ ਮੋਟੀਆਂ whatever little gains which we are getting, we should discuss more and more on our social media pages. Then this kind of thing, this struggle is going to be quite long. This may answer may come after that season, or this procurement season is not going to be that good, like that. And second thing, request to be made to the farmers leader. That's my personal viewpoint. Please don't mind. I have seen 2-3 farmer leaders always from the stage. They ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਤੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੌਮ ਹੈ, ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ। ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਟ੍ਰਾਂਜ਼ੀਐਂਟ ਫੀਲਿੰਗਸ ਆਫ ਫਰਸਟ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ, ਹੋਪਲੈਸਨੈਸ ਮਾਈਂਡ ਚੋਂ ਜਾਰੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਉਤੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਲੀਡਰ ਸਟੇਜ ਤੋਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਉਹੋ ਜੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤੇ ਮਨ ਚ ਤਾਂ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਜੀ ਉਸ ਗ੍ਰੇਟ ਕੌਮ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਲੋਂਗ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਦੇਖੋ ਮੇਨ religion associated with this struggle is Sikhism, Sikhi. No doubt our main slogan is of Chaddi Kala, but you can get my point ਕਿ ਉਹ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਹੁਣ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹਿਸਟਰੀ 'ਚ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਉਹ ਇਦਾਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਵੀ ਸੁਸਾਈਡਸ ਹੋਈਆਂ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਬਟ ਅ ਪਰਸਨ ਮੇ ਗੈਟ ਦ ਰੋਂਗ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਦਾ ਲੀਡਰ ਵੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਬੋਲ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਜੀ, ਇਦਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਇਦਾਂ, ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਛੋਟੀਆਂ ਛੋਟੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ। ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਥਿੰਗਸ, ਆਪਾਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਗੇਨਸ ਵੀ, ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ ਜੇ ਅੱਜ KMP ਹਾਈਵੇ ਜਾਮ ਕੀਤਾ, ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਇਜ਼ ਨਾਓ ਔਨ ਬੈਕਫੁੱਟ, ਵੀ ਕੈਨ ਸਪਰੈਡ ਦਿਸ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ ਜੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੁਣ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਜੀ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਆਇਆ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਜਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਅਚੀਵ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਹੈ। We should discuss more and more those things on our social media pages then ਕਿ ਇਹ ਲੜਾਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਲੰਬੀ ਚੱਲਣੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਇੱਥੇ ਤਾਂ ਜੀ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਗਲੀ ਸਰਦੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈ ਜਾਣਾ ਜੀ, ਗਰਮੀਆਂ ਆ ਗਈਆਂ। ਦੇਖੋ these things leads to the frustration in some, ਕਈ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ frustration ਆ ਸਕਦੀ। That's my viewpoint. Thank you.
Very valid 2 points. Thank you, Dr. Gurpratap. Chamak ji, I know you have a personal engagement. You've already given us half an hour over the time, but please let us know when we should conclude.
I think probably Preeti is the right person to answer this. As we still have 46 people in our session, we may take 2 or 3 5 minutes more, please.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm
if
fine with it. Preeti is sitting with her hand like this, like
no,
how long will they speak? Like
if each of you have a point to make also, because you were saying maybe Anurup and Simi might have something to add at the end.
At the end, I think all of us,
and then we could conclude after.
Yeah. But Chamak, call in 1 or 2 people, sure.
I think there were a couple of questions which were there in the box also, chat box, if you want to look at that.
Now, may I request Satinder Parkar, please unmute yourself. Yeah. Okay. So
Hello.
you're online now. You're live now.
Yeah. This is an excellent presentation, I think, and I also support this point that we should be more on the track of spreading the positive vibes and should be more proactive in our efforts so that this agitation can be cut shortened. I mean, totally agree that instead of utilizing the suicides and the negatives, the effort should be more how to cut short this agitation and helping on the positive side.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Amandeep, I think probably we don't have more speakers on this issue. So you will go ahead.
Dr. Simi, how would you like to conclude? I think Dr. Satyan's and Dr. Gurpratap's suggestions very valid. Dr. Baljit's was very valid. So, you know.
Yeah, I think
Dr. Savira, I think she put up two very simple questions to ask. I think all of them are very valid.
Yeah, I think all the suggestions are very valid, and I think if Satyan, what he's saying, if we can put in something like helpline numbers and then someone going personally also over there, so that people around there who are already working on the ground get more aware about these issues. And like he said that, you know, we have, if people from the farmers, they come and talk about their experiences, because that's what the PAU people did, that they had peer counselors. So there were people who had gone through depression themselves and were from the farming community, who then, you know, went and spoke to others that this is something they went through and how they sought help for it and how they feel about it now. So I think if we can identify some people like that also and maybe talk to them and train them. So I think Amandeep, who was a PhD student in Patiala, Punjabi University, I think they were doing these things in the villages, and we could utilize these people who've already done this kind of work with farmers in the villages in Punjab. So that's what I'd like to say finally.
Anu?
Well, I would just like to add by saying that not only the suicides, all other deaths were preventable. And most of these deaths, they've occurred because of the lack of supplies and facilities or proper, help that could not reach out to the protesters. So the help that the funding drives need to be supported along with the drives for the fallen farmers also, so that no more deaths should occur. And like one of the persons from the audience also said that the positive messages should reach out, and people should not be encouraged to think that it is a long affair and it will go on for a long time, because for us, those who are maintaining this death list, we want it to end. It's very hard to add those names every day, and as soon as it ends, it's good for everyone. And also, obviously, it should end in the favor of the farmers, but there should be some resolution that needs to be reached at. The cost that we are paying for each day is too much. At times we pay with 5 lives a day, 6 lives a day. I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about other resources. People are dying every day, and so that is the cost that we are paying. All of these deaths, not only suicides, are preventable. One, with finding a resolution. Second, supporting the people who are already sitting out there at the protest sites. That's my last remark.
Thank you. Thank you. Simran Sandhu, I'm sorry we can't take you again right now, but coming to your point and coming to the point of many NRIs, many people living abroad who are in solidarity with these protests, we know that there are new FCRA rules, there are new ways in which government is curtailing funding for organizations and NGOs and all that. This has been actually going on in Punjab for quite a while now. The previous governments weren't too helpful either. The only suggestion to you is to find your own trusted source in the villages of Punjab and work through them towards betterment rather than fighting the government which is actually a no-gain struggle. But thank you, Anu and team again. Thank you, Dr. Vadaj. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. I think personally, looking at Anu's energy, I felt again boosted, like all of us who are looking at the protest closely, we sag at some points, we go down, and then you hear younger people speak with such enthusiasm. Thank you for all the work you're doing, but keep yourself going also, So thank you for everybody joining us. Very good suggestions from psychiatrist friends here. Let us try to collate them. Let us see how we can reach them to the protests, because I think suicide should be zero. Other deaths should also be zero. As Anu very rightly said, a leader in December had said that we are losing 2 people to 3 people every day. And the other day, Anu, I've been taking count from Anu now because she doesn't post daily. I take count from Mangat's Instagram page as well. And I did some back of the envelope calculation. I said it is 2.65 now, This is a huge price we are paying. And we, of course, want the protests to get over. We want the government to repeal the laws, to legalize MSP. But our concern remains with those lives that we are losing, and we hope we don't. Thank you so much.
Yeah, before Jaspreet Nair ji proposes a vote of thanks and conclude it, let me say sorry to Larisa, and then we had another Gur Pratap. As we are already going late and you had your turn, so extremely sorry. Sometime next, Jaspreet ji, please.
And I'm going to switch over to Punjabi. The entire discourse has been in English. सारा कुछ सुन के मन पूरा भरिया होया है. मैं Jaspreet Nair. I'm a founder member at Maja House. लियाओ तुहानू सुसाइड तो बाकी प्रॉब्लम्स तो हटा के थोड़ियां लाइनां सुना दईए. थोड़ा जिगरा. कहंदे बह के उच्चियां बनेरियां ते तू छड्डे फरमान. बह के उच्चियां बनेरियां ते तू छड्डे फरमान. कदे साडे वांगू वंडां ते बह के तां देख. तेरी तानाशाही सोच. तेरी तानाशाही सोच. तेरा शहनशाही रहन बहन. कदे साडे वांग बिना छत दे सौंके तां देख. ओ माग दियां ठंडां. पो माग दियां ठंडां. सौण भादों दे कवत्त. कदे साडे वांग पिंडे उत्ते सह के तां देख. ते साडे पुत्त सरहदी. ते साडी तली उत्ते जान. साडे पुत्त सरहदी. साडी तली उत्ते जान. कदी साडे वांग मौत नाल खह के तां देख. ते दोस्तों हुण आ गया टाइम वाढियां दा. ते दाणियां दी गल होनी है मंडियां च, जिथों गल शुरू हुई सी. कहंदा असी वंडां विच सौंदे. असी वंडां विच सौंदे. रात मोड़दे ना नक्के. असी वंडां विच सौंदे. रात मोड़दे हां नक्के. तू दाणियां दे मुੱਲ पाउण वाला कौन? असी एक एक दाणा चुण मंडी च लियाईए. असी एक एक दाणा चुण मंडी च लियाईए. तू ढेरियां नूं आउंदे ही वंडाउण वाला कौन? है ये है फीलिंग. I couldn't help sharing this. And then coming to the 3 like-minded people who put us wise on so many facts. Amardeep Sandhu, tusi te sade fault line fellow hege. You are amazing, no doubt about that. And Anuroop Sandhu, tera main naam rakhte Searchlight.
Thank you.
You're going around.
What an honor.
Gathering. Beautifully doing it. Love you. Absolutely love you.
Yeah,
Thank you
love
so
her.
much.
Love you, Anu.
And
Thank you so much.
Anuroop ji, the medical doctor, the support system, Everybody is amazing. You put us wise on so many aspects. My heartfelt thanks from Maja team and the entire core who's been working for it. Thank you so much. We also have a program coming up on the 13th, Basakhi Wale Dinda.
Yeah.
We have a talk with Anita Anand. Do join in then. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much. It was indeed, I don't know how to say it, but soulful session. Thanks, Anurup,
Yeah.
Amandeep and Simiji. And thank you, everyone. God bless you all till we meet next on 13th. Sat Shri Akal.
That's right.